This is episode 433 of the AWS podcast, released on March 23, 2021. Podcast confirmed. Welcome to the official AWS podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of AWS Launch. I know I'm probably not your normal host, so let me introduce myself. Moving forward, I will now be your main host on this show. My name's Nikki. If you don't know me already, I do the update shows with Simon twice a month, where we talk about all the launches that we recently launched at AWS. And these shows are more of a focus in on one specific launch that we think is really cool that we want to highlight or we want to go deeper on. So excited to get to talk about so many awesome, cool AWS launches with all of you. I don't know about you, but I get really excited for the stuff we built here. So today, we're actually going to dive into a feature of EFS that recently launched called EFS OneZone. And we have Sarwar here today with us. Sarwar, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, Nikki. Hello to our listeners. My name's Sarwar, and I'm a senior manager of product management on the EFS team.
He's playing that down, but basically he's a really cool dude that works on EFS. And we have plenty of awesome things to talk about today. But first, what exactly did you guys launch? Tell us a little bit about what EFS OneZone is.
Sure. So we announced EFS OneZone storage classes. These are storage classes that reduce your storage costs by 47%. Compared to the existing regional EFS storage classes. And they do it while delivering the same features and the same benefits.
Okay, I love it when we just decrease prices and we don't have to do anything. So do I just get that 47% decrease if I'm using that storage class?
Well, so it's a new storage class, so you couldn't be using it. Well, you're special, so I'm sure you're using it on the back end. But just recapping for our listeners, right? EFS is a simple serverless, we like to call set and forget elastic file system. So it lets you share your file data without having to provision or manage your storage. So I like to think of it as sort of invisible infrastructure, right? It's there. It just kind of works. You don't have to twiddle too many knobs. You don't have to configure too many things, right? You can use it with all your favorite AWS cloud services. It integrates with EC2 instances, with containers, ECS, EKS, Fargate, Lambda. These are native integrations that we provide out of the box, and it's built to scale to petabytes. So the coolest thing about EFS is, it's elastic, right? You create a file system. There's really nothing in there. Populated with a bunch of files, your file system will grow, delete files, it'll shrink, and you pay only for what you use. So
love that.
Yeah. So with the OneZone storage classes, what we've done is we've given customers now an additional option. So what
are the different storage classes currently available? And then talk about the new one and how it adds to the problems that you might be solving for our customers.
Sure. So today we have standard storage classes for EFS, which provide customers with the highest levels of durability and availability you can get. So think about how we treat your data in a standard storage class. Every time you write data to the file system, we will replicate it in real time to 3 different AZs in a region to make sure that it can withstand the loss of an AZ. It is highly durable. It's read after write consistent. It can be accessed concurrently from tens of thousands of instances and containers. And
that's just automatically, right? You do that replication for a customer automatically.
Correct.
Or automagically, should I say? We don't have to do anything.
Yep. And that's what we've been doing since 2016. And with the new OneZone storage classes, these storage classes redundantly store your data within a single AZ, as opposed to the multi-AZ replication. And these are ideal for customers who want a more cost-optimized file storage option. So you have a wide variety of workloads. Not every workload needs, the copy in triplicate and give me the highest level of durability. And so, customers have told us, we love EFS. We love that we don't have to think about volumes and tiers, right? We just create a file system and go. And I'd love to be able to do that for certain classes of workloads that don't require, multi-AZ replication. So can you give that to us? And, nudge, nudge, can you make it a little cheaper, right? Because we're not going to be using multi-AZ. So that's what we've done is, just listening to our customers, talking to them about the use cases they want to run. We've come up with one-zone storage classes, and we have two storage classes, two regional storage classes, the standard storage classes, and we have two one-zone storage classes, perfect analogs of each other. So we have a one-zone storage class and a one-zone infrequent access storage class.
Ooh.
Which,
okay, so is that one even less?
Oh yeah. So EFS provides automatic lifecycle management. So when you create a file system using the console, we'll turn on this feature called lifecycle management. As a little bit of an aside, a couple of years ago, we started looking at industry data, and industry data told us that customers using file systems only really frequently access 20% of their data. 80% of the data is infrequently accessed. So
I believe that.
Yeah. So we took the initiative and built this capability called lifecycle management that will automatically and transparently move your files from the standard to IA, right? And IA happens to be 92% cheaper. So you get.
So this is similar to functionality in S3, basically.
Correct.
A little bit.
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly how it works. And so with our standard storage classes, you can use lifecycle management, and if you follow the 2080 rule, you get to sort of an effective storage price of about 8 cents per gigabyte. With one-zone being 47% cheaper, let's do the math. I'm doing mental math in my head. It actually comes down to 4.3 cents per gigabyte.
Yeah.
I
was like just over 4 cents.
Yeah. So again, it's the best deal in fully managed file storage, right? You get
all right. I gotta switch over.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have used EFS before. I've integrated it with a Lambda.
Mm-hmm.
It was a godsend for me. I had this Lambda. It was doing some actual code generation. So a lot of the data I don't actually want to keep, but I need a file structure while the Lambda is running to do a bunch of processing on the files, and that they get trashed and they go away. So I might actually switch to one-zone because this is actually perfect for my use case. I don't need any of the stuff saved in EFS permanently. I don't need it to be duplicated. I just need it for like that time while the Lambda's running, and then we empty it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess what are other use cases for EFS one-zone beyond my serverless use case? Because I can definitely say that serverlessly, if you are integrating Lambda with EFS, this is a perfect use case for one-zone. If you're doing some kind of processing with Lambda, right, where the data maybe in EFS is temporary. It's like a holding zone.
Yeah. So first let's talk real quickly about the challenges that customers have, right, that we're trying to solve here. So EFS sets the bar for elasticity. There's nothing else like it out there, right, where you don't have to provision any aspect of it, and it's, like I said, set and forget simple. But as I mentioned, right, there's workloads that just have lower cost requirements, right? And they also have lower resilience needs. So we've talked to customers who tell us that the way they're using WordPress or Jira or Git, right? For example, they don't necessarily need multi-AZ. They're more than happy with the availability and durability of a single zone solution. In fact, most customers who run on premises have single zone solutions, right? They're running in a single data center.
That's right.
So this is a solution that actually offers all of the benefits of being in the cloud with higher availability and durability than you can achieve on-prem. So, back to applications, customers who have these lower cost, lower resilience needs, they'll often choose to deploy self-managed file systems. So they'll build out their own file system in the cloud, or they'll do something on-prem, which sort of is, will result in much higher TCO. And
Yeah,
at the
they're
end
doing the heavy lifting when they could just use EFS.
exactly.
Basically.
And we call it undifferentiated heavy lifting, right? You're a software
That's right.
developer. Why are you managing storage? And
I don't
so
want to be, just to
exactly.
be clear.
So we'll free you up from all of that, and we'll give you a fully managed elastic file system, right, at this fantastic price point. And in speaking with customers, what we've heard about OneZone use cases is that customers want to use them for development environments. They want to use them for build and staging, pre-prod environments.
Yeah.
One very important use case that customers have brought to us is really for analytics and simulations and transcoding workloads, where customers describe to us how their data becomes more and more valuable as it works through a pipeline of some kind. And in some of those initial stages where they're working with a huge data set, cleaning up data, for example, they don't need that multi-AZ resilience right at that point.
Right.
They want their source data and their final data to be preserved, but all those intermediate stages, right? They'd much rather
Totally.
sort of have a more efficient and a more cost-efficient way to do it. So especially for those analytics, simulation, media transcoding sorts of workflows, this is a great solution. Of course, for backups and replicas. So if you need a secondary backup solution, this is great because it is very, very cost efficient.
Did you hear from any other customers that have like similar use cases like mine, where it's like they're using a Lambda in conjunction with EFS, and their Lambda is doing some kind of temporary processing of data where they again don't need it replicated in multiple zones?
Exactly. So the one of the earliest customers we spoke to, they compute values for their business based on a public data set, right? So they scour public sources of data on the internet, right? Build up a data set in EFS, right? And then do their processing. And this is a daily task. And their ask was, I have to recreate my data from source every single day. And if something happens to my data, right, in a OneZone environment, which is unlikely, but if it does, I can very easily recreate it. So, I don't need that whole multi-AZ setup, right? I need that for other stages of my pipeline and for my production environment. So, can you give us something that runs in OneZone so that we can optimize for cost and also for performance? Because
I was about to ask that. I was like, what other benefits besides cost do you get with OneZone? Yeah, is it faster? Is it more performant? I would guess, because you're not spending all this time duplicating the data.
So yes, for exactly that reason, right? The fact that we are no longer replicating and communicating across availability zones, we do get a performance bump, which shows up in the form of lower latencies. So especially for customers who are a little more performance sensitive, if you create your file system in a particular AZ and you place your instances or your containers or your lambdas in the same AZ, you will see a performance difference relative to using the regional solution.
Can you quantify that difference for us? Is it like 1.5 times faster, 2 times faster? Any kind of number that I can put in my brain?
It really depends on the workload, and it'll you'll see
so it varies.
Yeah, you'll see a better performance bump for small file workloads, which happen to be about 80%. 80% of files happen to be sort of small files. So yeah, it really depends workload by workload. It would be at this point not quite ready to put a firm number on it, but we'll be getting there. We'll be publishing performance stats soon.
Okay, so mileage varies, but there will be a performance boost that you might see in your workload. So, I mean, we've been sitting here, and all I'm thinking this whole time is, I got to go log into my AWS account and turn this on for my workload where I have integrated EFS with Lambda, because I got to take advantage of this. This is awesome. So how do I actually get started? How do I switch over my file system to be using OneZone versus the standard storage class?
Yeah, so at present, you can't switch your file system from regional to OneZone. You'd have to create a new file system. But thankfully, with EFS, that's 2 clicks, right? It's a handful of clicks from the console or an API call, and you don't have to do a lot of thinking to be able to get there. So to get started with OneZone, just create a new file system using our console, using the CLI or the SDK. If you're logged into the console, you just hit the Create File System button, and now you have a new choice, and that new choice shows up as availability and durability, right? So,
And can you specify this in a CloudFormation template? So if you have an EFS storage system already that you are in your CloudFormation template, can you just specify the new storage class there? Is that available yet?
it is available. It was available as we
Good.
ship, and the documentation
Excellent.
is all up to spec as well. So yes, you can use CloudFormation templates. But back to the console example, you now get to choose whether you want to create a file system with regional availability and durability, or a file system with OneZone durability and availability. And I want to pause there and actually talk about this, because it's an important difference that our customers should understand, right? So EFS is designed for 11 nines of durability, right, across all the storage classes. So whether
Amazing.
it's OneZone or standard, we're designed for 11 nines of durability.
11 nines. Hey.
Yeah, that I think if you do the math, that's the statistical equivalent of never, right? But
yeah, basically.
yeah, but let's put this in context, right? Of the fact that there is a difference in how your data is spread, right? So
Right.
we can claim really, really high durability because we use the same redundancy techniques for standard versus OneZone. The difference being, in standard, we make all these redundant copies of your data and spread it to 3 different AZs. In the case of OneZone, we make all these redundant copies of your data and spread them within a single AZ, which
Ooh,
which
okay,
means
that's nice.
which means your data is subject to that slight additional risk should we experience the loss of a complete AZ, which has never happened at AWS.
Yeah, which is highly
Right.
unlikely.
Right. Then you may lose data, right? Because it is not spread across multiple AZs. However, there's more. When you create an EFS file system, a OneZone file system, you get automatic backups. So we integrate with AWS Backup, and when you create that file system, we automatically create a 24-hour backup policy with 35-day retention, which will back up your file system to AWS Backup, which is a regional service, 3AZ redundant, 11 nines durable. So
it's basically really happening still. It's just
it's an
it's
extra
happening
layer
behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's an extra layer of data protection, right, for your data.
Yeah.
And should you need to ever restore your data, you can point your backup to any AZ in any region, right, and bring it back up.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So let's say I have a standard class EFS file system today, and I want to change over to a OneZone, but I have data in there. Can I use a backup to restore to OneZone, or is there an easy way for me to migrate the data in my standard to a new OneZone EFS file system?
The answer is yes. So absolutely, you can take a backup and then restore to a new OneZone file system. You can also use DataSync. So our friends at AWS DataSync have this new agentless capability where you can simply specify a two file system, a from file system and a to file system, and the to file system can be a OneZone, and you can just zip your data across from one file system to the other. So
bam, just like that. So you can take advantage of it today, even if you already have an existing file system that you might have data stored in.
Right.
In my use case, the files in my EFS file system, they're temporary. So I could just basically change my CloudFormation template value to indicate that I'd like a OneZone. But for most customers that have data, if you want to switch over to OneZone, it's very easy to migrate, which is awesome that you guys have 2 ways to do that.
Yeah. So we spoke about that key durability difference, right? Which customers want to consider, right? Different kinds of workloads, different kinds of data have different requirements. The other difference is availability. So because this is a OneZone solution, we offer, 3 nines of availability, and we actually back that with an SLA. So if we don't deliver 3 nines, you get your money back, right? This isn't just
That's
an empty
amazing.
promise. So our standard products, our standard storage products, standard storage classes rather, support a 4 nines SLA, and the OneZone product supports a 3 nines SLA. So between the durability and the availability difference, right? That is the choice point for our customers. If those durability and availability limits meet your business and your workload requirements, then you can
Yep.
choose to save an additional 47%.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's like, duh, why wouldn't I
Mhm.
save 47% and also get more performant file system for my use case?
Yep.
Especially mine personally. I'm personally going to sign off from this podcast and go log into my
Yeah.
AWS account and make some changes immediately following this podcast, because
Nice.
this is awesome. This is exactly what I'm here for. I love this. So yeah, is there anything else that you want to tell us today about EFS OneZone, or anything else that you'd like our customers to know?
Yeah, I mean, the three key things to remember about OneZone are you get the best effective pricing cost in the industry, right? You get 4.3 cents per gigabyte month for fully managed cloud storage. It comes with default lifecycle management, comes with
It's
default
incredible.
automatic backups. Those backups are multi-AZ resilient, 11 nines durable, and you get all of the same EFS features and integrations that you love, right? You get the elasticity, you get the scalability, the lifecycle management, the integration with Lambda, ECS, EKS, Fargate, SageMaker, all of that stuff works just as is.
So much goodness. This is one of those services where everything just happens automatically for you. And there's nothing I love more than just something happens in the background and I don't have to know about it or think about it. It's just there.
Well,
I don't have to worry about it.
and that, that,
One
that
less
that's
thing for
ex-
our
that,
customers to worry about.
that's exactly what we strive for, right? I mean, this stuff has to be drop dead simple. And if you compare it to what other storage systems require you to do, I mean, there's a lot of planning that goes into provisioning and managing storage because it can get so expensive. With EFS, right, that elasticity, that elastic property, like I said to you a few minutes ago, right, just go create a new file system. Just hit a button, create a file system. Guess what it's costing you at that point? Nothing. It won't cost you
Yeah. And
anything
it's like, how
until
many
you
clicks
start
for me
putting
to
data
do
in it.
it?
Yeah, it won't cost you anything until you start putting data in it, right? And even then,
Love
it
that.
will scale performance-wise proportionately to how much data you have automatically without you thinking about it, right? If you have higher
Love it.
performance needs, we've got one knob. You can go and say, "Hey, I need this much throughput for my workload," and we'll give it to you, right? But most customers, their workloads just scale with their data.
So I don't know if it gets better than this. Frankly, I'm loving everything I'm hearing. I thought that I was more of a novice with EFS because I've only ever integrated with Lambda, but I just feel like there's so much that you don't need to know because it's all just happening for you that actually maybe I'm not such a novice because it's all just there for me and I didn't have to know it anyways.
I mean, as a user and as a developer, we don't want you to have to think about the complexity, the durability, the reliability of your data, right? We take care of all of that for you, right? All you have to do is point your application to the file system. And
Amazing.
there's no better example of that than the lifecycle management feature I talked about, right? So think about it. Like in the background, we use a policy, like you set a policy that says, hey, every 30 days, if I haven't touched a file, put it in infrequent access. And we'll do that in the background for you. And neither you nor your application will know the difference. When your application says, I want that
That's
file,
amazing.
it'll just go fetch it from the namespace. It's not like you have to think about, well, this file is now 30 days old. Am I going to have to access it a different way? Nope. It is completely transparent. You're just saving money automatically based on
Love it.
the policy you set, and that's
I love it when
how
I
we
do
want to work.
less and get more. I mean, that's just, yes. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Sarwar, for coming on to the show today to talk about this amazing new feature of EFS. Again, it is called EFS OneZone, if you didn't catch that before, but Yeah, so obviously we will wait for your next awesome new feature launch from EFS, because you guys are just clearly innovating and doing super cool stuff each and every month. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will chat with you all at the next launch. For now, we can't wait to see what you guys build next with EFS OneZone. Thank you all so much.